This is a 2x4 or a 4x2 here in England. So if anyone's actually cutting these, what tends to happen is when you actually do cut them, you end up with something like that, and it's supposed to be obviously 90 degrees. Obviously this is an exaggeration, or maybe it's not for some people. So what I like to do, obviously you've got your line squared, and I like to put a line here and a line on the back as well. So obviously if this was a mortise and tenon joint, you would be using a knife line, but rough cuts like this, I'll just use pencil. So when I'm starting something like this, I like to start from this corner. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get it on the line again using my thumb and my finger. This is how I like to do it. So I like to get on the line. So I've got like a little cut here. So I'm just basically going to drop the saw, and I'm basically just going to track my line all the way back to this side. So if you are really struggling, what I would suggest you do is once you've got your line where you're going to, just gradually drop the saw down, and we're going to follow this line here. So basically I've got that there, and as what I'm going to do is exactly the same on this side. So the thing about doing this as well, you've obviously got the curve on the top and the curve at the back, and this is going to help you guide the saw. Same again. So that's me all the way down to the bottom of the 2x4 now. So now I've got the curve this side, I've got the curve this side. So basically inside of the cut you've got a kind of like a mountain or a point, if you will. So it's just a case of trimming that down now. And so you can see it is nice and square. So I've got a profile to cut out here. As you can see, it's a bevel, it's kind of 80 degrees ish, and it has got a slight arc here. So all of this is going to be done with the Ryoba saw, obviously. So I'm just going to talk you through my process and how I would cut this out. And you know, this is technically a profile, and I do use a Ryoba saw to do this. There's a lot of people that like to use turning saws and stuff like that, but maybe I just can't use them properly, maybe, because they seem to be all raggedy daggedy, and it's more cleaning up. So I like to use a Ryoba saw with things like this. Also, this is going to be a bit of a demonstration of how to cut a curve as well. I haven't got the need to cut a circle, so I'm not going to be demonstrating cutting a circle. But this is the premise, obviously, of how I would cut a circle. Bear in mind, if you are going to cut a circle with a Ryoba saw, you're not going to be able to cut like circles yay big. I'm talking, you know, maybe like a couple of foot at the minimum in diameter. Hopefully in the future I am going to be able to do something like that just to demonstrate to everybody. But I'm going to crack on with this and kind of talk you through what I'm doing here. So I'm going to start here. I'm going I'm going to get a little cut up here. I'm not going to touch this side because obviously when I come down here it is going to be weak, so I'm going to cut that last. As I said, I'm going to start here, and this is a rip cut. See, so I'm kind of starting my angle like this, and then I'm tilting the saw and I'm working my way down so I get a nice square cut. And that's kind of following the 90 degrees. So I bring the angle back up because I've got my curve to follow. And I followed my line all the way here. So as what I can do now, I can start turning the saw to 90 degrees vertical. So another thing I'm going to do here is just cut a little triangle out. So this is just going to enable us to obviously start me saw off. So what's going to happen here, I'm going to start the saw, I'm going to kind of curve the saw, I'm going to come all the way through, get onto my line, come through a bit more, and before I get to the other side of here, I'm then going to take the saw back to this way. Obviously if I take the saw all the way along here, the more I come along here, obviously the more this is going to become weak. So when I've got just enough, I want to work my way back that way, back onto the line. So technically this is a cross cut, so obviously I'm going to start with the cross cut teeth. So just now I'm just starting to add a bit of a curve, and this is what I was talking about on the last video. Because I've got the angle so low, I'm actually able to manipulate the saw and where it's actually going. So another thing when I'm doing this as well, the top of the blade, where the teeth are, you don't want to take them through. These will eventually go through, but it's going to be at the very end of the cut. If you take these through now, you're going to damage the other side and it's going to want to twist. So when I'm doing anything like this, I do try to kind of keep it in the middle of the blade. So I don't know if you can see this, but I'm very close to my line now. Something to note here as well, it is pretty awkward. The saw's wanting to fight us, and obviously the wood's wanting to fight us, everything's wanting to twist, so you have got to be firm. Obviously if something doesn't feel right, stop what you're doing, because you may damage the saw. But there, I'm pretty much on my line now. So what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to change the angle of the saw just a little bit more, because I'm on my line now. So now what I'm doing here, I'm actually using my thumb and my first finger just to kind of guide the saw on the line. Obviously I want to track that line all the way back to here. I've actually, as you can see, I've removed my hand, and this is just because there's enough meat to basically do what my fingers were doing. So I'm going to come round and finish this edge. and finish the whole cut off. So what I was meaning why I left this till last, you see it's quite bouncy. I always get a little bit worried that if I cut this and when I'm getting close to here something might snap, so this is how I like to do it. Obviously everyone's different. And it's the same again. I'm going to kind of follow my line that way, drop the saw so I get me 90 degrees this way as well. So that's me 90 degrees there. I'm going to put the saw back up and follow my line going this way, which is roughly 80 degrees. So same again, obviously there's enough curve this way to guide the saw, and there's obviously enough curve this way to guide the saw. So same again. Okay, and that's it finished. So as you can see, you know, it's not too shabby. Obviously it still is going to have to be cleaned up, but it's to the point where I'm probably going to get away with just sanding it. But the whole point of me doing it with this saw is so I haven't got all those little niggly little bits which I personally get from using a turning saw. I mean, even if you're powered and you're using a jigsaw, I personally don't think you're going to get a finish like that, you know, freehand. I just don't think you are, even if you have got a lot of experience. So that's kind of how I cut profiles, and as I said, how I've cut this curve, it's exactly the same way if you're going to cut a circle. And as I said, obviously you're all going to have to be realistic with your circles. You're not going to get a little circle, something like that. As I said, it's going to have to be a couple of foot at minimum. That's it for this one, guys. So if you want to see anything more about this saw, leave a comment and let us know what you want to see. Any questions, again, leave a comment. Until the next time, I shall see you guys later.